Hi, welcome to the Quantum Success Show with Christy Whitman. Today I am so excited because I have a local Arizona hero in many different ways, Luis Gonzalez. So I want to just share a little bit of information about Luis before we get started. Luis Gonzalez, nicknamed Gonzo, played Major League Baseball for 18 years as an outfielder. He played for the Arizona Diamondbacks from 1999 to 2006. And Gonzo spent most of his best years with the Arizona Diamondbacks and was the most popular player in that organization's history and in Arizona history. Everyone knows Gonzo if you live in Arizona. He's a local hero for many, many reasons and a really beloved icon. He delivered the game-winning hit in Game 7 of the 2001 World Series to give the Diamondbacks their first and only World Series championship to date. His number 20 was retired by the Diamondbacks. In 2001, Gonzalez hit a personal best of 57 home runs, was selected to his second All-Star team, and won the Home Run Derby later in the year. Gonzo's Hometown Heroes Fund is a charitable fund of the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation, which supports first responders in Arizona. Gonzo is passionate about helping the Arizona community, especially the men and women who risk their lives every day to ensure our safety here in Arizona. 100% of the proceeds from Gonzo's Hometown Heroes Fund will benefit projects, programs, and nonprofit organizations that support police officers, firefighters, and first responders across Arizona. I would love to welcome you, Luis Gonzalez. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Christy. Thanks for having me.
You know, as a mother of two boys, I have a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I see them getting into sports. And when I think of the accomplishments that a professional athlete makes and the commitments that they have to make from day to day and year to year to continue to be and play the sport, to be able to be in your position, to have that commitment since you were a young boy to play baseball and to be the one that wins, like the guy that wins the World Series. Can we pull that picture up of him winning the World Series, please? What was that like for you?
Just an incredible moment. And, you know, when I go speak to kids or I'm around younger, the younger generation now, I like to tell them that I was no different than they were. Had a dream as a young kid. And really that's what you want to kind of stress to the younger generation is that if you believe in something and you work hard at it, it could be you. You could be in that stage if you know and you have the confidence that you can go out there and do it. And it's not always going to be easy. There's a lot of letdowns and disappointments that come with it. But it's the fight that you have to continue to strive forward and work harder and try to be better than everybody else out there.
So I always talk about how, as a coach for many years, not a professional coach, but a life coach, that it's really about alignment and momentum. So alignment being your beliefs, having your visions of your dreams, really being able to have your thoughts and your perspectives aligned with what you do desire, and then doing whatever it takes from an action perspective to create that momentum. So for you, when you said, it wasn't always easy, I like to call that contrast, things showed up. What was the thing that you did for yourself internally to find that alignment, to connect with that dream over and over again when it wasn't necessarily easy?
Well, I think you look at your surroundings, the people around you. You look at the people that are successful. What are they doing that makes them successful? And then in sports in general, you see so many great players or athletes that are just have unbelievable talent, but they don't stay up there long enough because they don't work at it. And then you see the steady Eddie guy, the guy who's just, quietly going about his business every day and then doing his work. And then that's the guy that has the longevity and that's there for a long time. And then eventually he becomes that star player because of just his work ethic and the way he approaches things and being positive. And, I have 3 young kids, and I always tell them when a door closes, another opportunity opens for you, and that you have to learn how to deal with failure. Baseball is an unbelievable sport that you fail 7 times out of 10 and you're considered a superstar. So you have to learn how to be able to deal with that failure, and then the times that you're successful, make those times when they really count and they're important, that you have to come up big to get a big hit for your team, or the game's on the line, or you have to make that perfect pitch and things like that. And just try to be positive, because I always feel like everybody's always watching you, especially when you're a leader in something that you do. They're always trying to see the negativity, or if something doesn't go right for you, they see, okay, how is this guy going to react to this? Is he going to turn that negative into positive, or is he just going to sulk on it and then feel sorry for himself?
Absolutely. So when you were a kid, did you envision yourself? Did you have that image of you ever winning the World Series, or did you have that in your mind and something that drove you, or what did you do to kind of fill yourself up and to make yourself aligned with that dream?
Well, I always dreamed about it. I grew up in Tampa, Florida. My family's Cuban, so I grew up in a more of a Hispanic community, and baseball was big there. So as a young kid, I would go into the little coffee shops with my parents, and when they got the coffee on Saturdays and Sundays and the Cuban bread, I would see all these old men sitting around reading the newspaper and following their local hometown heroes that were playing in the major leagues. And I always told my parents, I want to be one of those guys one day that they're reading about. And that just drove me. And to me, one of the other things that drove me too is when I ended up going to college and then signing professionally, the fear of failure is what drives me, I think, because number one, I don't want to let my family down. I know I'm not only representing whatever team you play for, but you represent your mom, your dad, your grandparents, or whoever has fought for you to get there or has helped you along the way to get to the coaches and different things. So I always took that, and then everybody always would ask me, when you played for a long time, were you ever comfortable? I said, if I got comfortable, that meant I didn't work. And I always knew that there was young kids. I played till I was 40 in the major leagues, and I knew there was 21 and 22-year-olds that were trying to take my job. So what I try to do was try to show them that work ethic that I had each and every day when they go, man, this guy's 40 years old, and he's still out here working just as hard, because I loved doing what I was doing. And I wanted to prove to younger people and to the older people that if you work hard at it, you could still be successful at playing.
So you also had a passion. You were very passionate.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, this is something that I love doing. I love doing that, and it gave me a platform to help people, not just on the field but off the field.
Well, that's what I love about you, because you're such a great example of a professional athlete that didn't get into trouble, that was really in alignment and integrity, and then with your success, you give back. And that's why, anybody that you talk to in Arizona, we just recently full-time moved back 2 years ago. And when I talk to anybody, when I mentioned your name, when I said I was going to be interviewing you, everybody had just really nice things to say about you, in that you really do give back. You weren't just a player here. You really are part of the community, and people appreciate you for that. And you are a hero here. You really are. You're one of the most famous people and icons in Arizona.
Well, I appreciate that, but I really, the people that know me know that I try to be genuine everywhere I go. And, as many years as I played with some really great athletes that are Hall of Famers, and I've been around some really special, unique people. But to me, the thing that I always try to do was I would treat the guy that opened the door for me every single day walking in that clubhouse, he was just as important to me as Randy Johnson or Kurt Schilling, who played on the team, because they're human beings. And for me, I just always felt like, and my mom always taught me this as a young age, to appreciate everything you had and to try to make a difference and impact. And that's something that I always try to do, because I was taught early, the same people that you pass on the way up are going to be the same people you pass on the way down. So I always tried to stay even keel with it. I never, even when I was at the top of my game and an all-star in Major League Baseball, I always took the time to say hi to people and never made it about me. I always tried to, if you had a friend that was coming in and you were my teammate and you brought somebody in the locker room, I went out of my way to make them feel special, because it's a unique thing to come in there. And that's something that I've always strive to do, even now with my son who plays professional baseball now, and with my daughters, and explain to them that if you get that platform and you're able to go out there and make a difference and help, all these records and different things that I've been able to accomplish in my career and in my life playing baseball, they're all going to be broken. To me, the impact that I make is off the field, because then that people are really going to realize how genuine you really are and how you care about people. Baseball is going to come and go. I couldn't play this game forever, but being able to go out there and help and make a difference, and whether it was a small charity or just making a difference in somebody's life, that's what means the most to me.
That's amazing. You remind me of that song from Tim McGraw, "Humble and Kind."
Well, that's the way we try to, that's the way I was brought up, and that's the way I try to instill those same values into our kids. My wife and I are very big in the community. We never sheltered our kids. A lot of star athletes or celebrities are very in tune with only themselves and their inner circle. We tried to get out and just enjoy life and be around people, and I never had a security team or anything like that. I didn't need that stuff. I enjoy being around people. I'm a people person. I went to college in Alabama, and I love being around people. My family was always very open in our house. We always had people coming in and out, and friends and guests and families. So that's just the way I grew up. I was just an open book all the time, and I still try to use that same approach.
That's beautiful. My newest book is called Quantum Success, and it's coming out later this year. And you're bringing up just so many of the different qualities that I talk about as principles in that book. Having and showing and being in that feeling place of appreciation. And there's not a lot of people that are raised with that. They're raised in lack and limitation, and it's not enough. And it's like we can live one of three ways: that things are never enough, things are just enough, or there's enough for everybody to go around. And I see where, whether it's money, love, or whatever it is, that's where you live in that higher realm.
Well, there's no doubt. And I think even the people that are like that are just selfish and don't believe in giving back and stuff, they can change and they can be humbled at times too. And I think maybe it's something, unfortunately, that may be dramatic in their life, or something that makes them open their eyes and realize how valuable and precious it is to make an impact on other people's lives. It's not always about receiving. Sometimes it's just as satisfying to give. And to realize that that when you give, it's impacting somebody. Maybe it could be life-changing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about money all the time. It could be about just giving 5-10 minutes, or spending time with somebody and just making a difference in their lives. It can be very impactful.
Well, I want to talk about this too. You actually gave a very, I honestly can't believe you did this. You rescued a woman from a burning car. I would love for you to, if we could pull that picture up, I would love for you to share that moment. Like, what goes through your head when you see that? I don't know that most people would do what you did.
Yeah, I really didn't. I really wasn't thinking when I just reacted. As an athlete, you just react sometimes when you're on the field. And I was actually with two buddies in the car. We were driving, and when three guys are in the car, everybody's shooting the breeze and you're talking and everything's happening. And then I actually saw it right in front of me happening because I was driving, and you see cars just go right by, and I'm thinking, oh my God, somebody's in a car and you don't know. And if that's somebody in your family, wouldn't you want somebody to help? Or if your daughter or your son or somebody or your grandparents. And I really didn't think. I just put the car in park, and I told my buddies, I'm running to that car. And then my friend said, I'm going to run to the other car. And the airbags were, imploded. So the car behind me was on fire, maybe 4 or 5 feet away, that had hit the elderly lady's car. And I was just trying to get her out of the car. I really didn't think about, okay, this car could blow up or whatever. I was just trying to get her out. And she was semi-conscious, not really realizing what was going on. I was trying to have her to help me to open the door, to reach over to get the handle. And when we finally got the door open, I grabbed her and I said, I need to get you out of here because this car is on fire. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm not a paramedic or a fireman, so we're just normal people. So you don't know. I don't know if a car is going to blow. I'm not a mechanic or anything like that. So I'm not the everyday guy that knows stuff about cars. So I just went into almost like a game mode and just said, I got to do this. And you don't really think, you just react, and just helped her get her out of the car. And thankfully, it all worked out. There wasn't any serious injuries. I think she had some cracked ribs and was sore for a couple days. But I'm just I wasn't seeking that type of attention, but I'm just thankful that she was okay. And then really just wanted it to be known. I got contacted by people that wanted to give me an award and things like that. I never received an award. I didn't want that. They were like, oh, we want to give you this and that. Well, that's not what it's all about. I didn't do it because I wanted to get an award. I was doing it because I was at the right place at the right time, and I knew I could help somebody. So that's basically what happened.
That's what I'm saying, the giving nature that you have. Generosity is one of my just highest values, and one of the reasons that I've been as successful as I have. And so that's what I see in you too, is the generosity of, just everything that you give. The fact that you're wanting to give this person and help this person, even though you didn't know them. You're being that humble, kind, generous person.
Yeah, and sometimes you get caught up sometimes because, doing what I did for so many years, play professional sports, you get name recognition and people know who you are and things like that. And that's great because when you're a little kid, that's what you dream of. You dream of going, I want to be an all-star or a hero. And sometimes guys lose perspective of what it's all about. And for me, it's not always about the cameras and being in front of the cameras. I mean, obviously, there's going to be promos and where they're going to go, hey, our team's going over here. We need to, we want to show how you guys give back in the community, or Christmas time, or, different, times of the year. But for me, the important time is when the cameras aren't around and somebody says, hey, I need you to, go here and talk to this person or do this or that to try to help. Or, hey, my mom or my grandmother's, she's slowly dying and you were her biggest, she loved you. You were her favorite player, or, and for me to take the time and just go spend that, whether it's 2 or 3 minutes, to me, that's what I love doing. It's not always about being in front of a camera and doing that. So to me, those are family values that you grow up with, and you learn to appreciate that. And even if you don't have those, you can develop those as time goes on, just from even seeing other people around you, the way they do things.
That's what I was just going to ask you, because you didn't obviously have that. You didn't come from a famous family. You didn't have any training in that. So as you start to get into fame and people start recognizing you, how did you have to internally, what did you have to say to yourself? How did you have to process that for you to keep the perspective you had?
Well, you're right. I grew up in a house where a 3-bedroom house was me, my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my aunt all living in under one same roof. Yeah. We didn't have money. My dad was a baker. My mom was a school teacher. My grandparents worked in a cigar factory. My aunt worked for a phone company. And my brother, sister, and I were just 3 kids that loved going outside and playing when we got home from school out in the street and just enjoying life. We didn't have any worries. Sometimes when you have a lot of money, it creates a lot more problems. And I didn't really think about it. And then when I started playing, and I always promised to my mom that I was going to, try to make a difference in people's lives. And I saw that at an early age from, just going to spring training and being one of those little kids with a baseball and seeing how I idolized different players and how players react around people, and just seeing if they took time to sign something and just interact with kids and things like that. And for me, that was something that always stuck out in my mind. And when I played, that was something that I always loved doing. I always felt like when I played, selfishly in my mind, I said people were coming to see me, and that's what made me more open to saying hi to somebody or waving at them. And I couldn't sign everybody's autograph because I had a job to do.
Sure.
But even if I made eye contact and waved at them or something, and then or like between innings when I caught the last out, I would try to throw a ball in the stands. And I would see the adults, and I'd always try to pick a kid out and throw it to him with his glove. And you have young kids at home. If I throw the ball to your son sitting in the stands and he caught that, that would be life-changing for him. He will never forget that the rest of his life. And for me now, I'm 50 years old, and now to see somebody that is 30 years old or 40 years old, whatever, and comes up to me at the ballpark or around the city and say, hey, I caught a ball from you, or, that you threw to me when you were standing on the field, that for me is satisfying for me. I don't care if that day I went 0 for 4 and struck out 3 times and we lost a game. For me, later on in life, I know that I impacted that person somehow from just giving something to him or just doing something that makes them feel good.
We took our sons it was 2 years ago, spring training, and to the Cubs games. And he used to play for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're my Cubbies. They're my favorite. Sorry, I know I'm an Arizona resident.
No, that's okay. The Cubs have a great following. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a Cubbies. But anyways, we went up to like where the pitcher's mound or the dugout, and one of the players threw one to my son Alex, and he caught it. And went back and sat down, and Maxim, I could see, he's my youngest, he was bummed out, and my husband and I took him to, go by where we were and try to catch the ball, and we missed it the first time,
right?
And the player threw it back to us, and so that he could get this ball, and just to see that pride in both of their faces, and to see the excitement that they were leaving the ball game with balls in their hands.
Oh, absolutely. It's life-changing, especially for little kids like that, because it's something... At this age, at 8, or you can ask them that 10 years. They might not be able to tell you their math homework or what they did in English class, but you can ask them something about a sporting event that they remember, whether it was going with you and your husband and you guys just spending the day together. That is something that's meaningful and something that they'll never forget. For me, sports is something that through positivity and negativity that always comes out. They're going to cheer their favorite players. They're going to boo the ones that they don't like, but it brings everybody together.
Yeah.
And in times of when things aren't going well and everything, sports has a way to make you forget about all your problems. Whether it's for 2 or 3 hours in the day, you can go out there and just enjoy yourself, have fun, be a family, and not worry about paying bills. How they're doing in school, or just all the other stuff that evolves around your life, and just go out there and say, you know what, today we're just going to have a family day. We're going to forget about everything. We're just going to enjoy it and have fun.
Absolutely. So one last question I have for you. I remember the day that I became a New York Times bestselling author, and it had been a dream of mine for years. And the next day it was like, now what?
Right.
Like, what do I do? And it was almost a little bit, it was a high, but then it was such a letdown. And I almost found myself a little depressed.
How do you keep up with that? How do you maintain that level?
You won the World Series for the Diamondbacks, which never won the World Series, still to this day hasn't. You won for them the last game. Like, you won the series. How do you go from that to then going back and being a husband and a dad? And what did you go through after that?
It was great around the city for a while. I mean, everywhere you went, people were recognizing you and acknowledging you. And to me, there's certain events in your life that you'll remember, and you'll never forget where you were or what happens. For me, every time I talk to a person or whatever, I think that stadium held 8 million people, because every time I go somewhere, everybody goes, "Oh, I was there. I was at that game." I go, "Man, everybody had a ticket to that game." But it's it's the pinnacle. I mean, it's the highest of the high that you ever have. Like you talked about your book, and you know that you're not going to be able to maintain that the rest of your life. So you have to find that comfort zone where you're going to just say, "You know what? This is who I am." At that one particular moment in my life, I was at the ultimate high. But if you stay true to yourself and you believe that you got great friends and great family and people around you, you'll never change. It doesn't matter. I mean, the fun part for me is I can go around this city and people recognize me and things, but when I leave and go to another city with my family and friends, nobody really knows who you are unless somebody recognizes you from baseball or whatever, and then you're just like everybody else, and that is what really humbles you and keeps you in check. all the time. And, everybody always says, well, everybody loves you and everybody knows you. And, how do you feel? And I go, well, it feels great because I've been retired now for over 10 years. I say when they don't remember who I am or they don't know who I am, then that's when I got to worry.
Yeah.
But other than that, I just try to go out there and just be positive around people. And even now, when I work for the Diamondbacks and they'll ask me, hey, can you go to this school and whatever? And for me, it's, I do it, but I'm kind of embarrassed to do it now because only the teachers really know who you are. And the kids have probably heard your name or they've seen your mascot bobblehead or whatever running around the field, but they don't really know you as the player. So the way I try to come across it as, I'm a former player, but I'm a parent. So when I go to these high schools or junior highs and whatever, I'm saying, I know what you guys are going through. I'm a parent. I'm a dad. I know. I have 2 daughters. I have a son at home. So I know the struggles that you guys go through because as a parent, we see it in our kids every day. So I'm not just an athlete that's up here. I'm a normal person like you guys are. I got to take the garbage out. I do the dishes. I do all the chores around the house. And my wife might argue and say, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But you still do you maintain. It doesn't matter how big you get sometimes. You always come back to reality, and home is your reality. And the friends that you're around, they keep you in check. And if you stay humble to who you are yourself, you'll never change.
That's awesome. So as a high achiever that's done so much, what are you excited about now as you move forward into your future?
Just enjoying my life, my kids, seeing them grow up. I have 2 daughters now that live in L.A. One is pursuing acting. The other one is going to fashion school. And then I have a son. Last year they graduated from high school, and now my son got drafted by the San Francisco Giants and turned down a college scholarship to pursue his dream of playing major leagues. He's grown up in a locker room, and that's I'm proud of all 3 of them, really. I wish they would have picked easier occupations. They've had tough career choices, but I'm proud of the fact that they want to pursue their dream and they're going to go for it. They're going to work hard at it each and every day. And as a parent and as my wife and I always say, the only thing we can do is be there to support. And when things crumble, we're there to help them pick up the pieces and keep pushing them. Because if you cave on them and tell them, well, you can't do that, you need to, change your dream or your goal and stuff, then we're not doing our diligence as parents. So they have a dream, they want to do it, and you follow along with it and you push them along and try to help them as much as you can. But, they're going to have to do it eventually on their own out there and try to be successful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for what you give back to this community and for being an example of just a really well-connected human being that's kind. So thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much. Leave us a comment. Let me know what you're taking away from today, and I hope you've enjoyed Luis Gonzalez. Bye, everybody.